Hey everyone, what's going on? My name is Gothix, and today I'll be talking about why I decided to walk away from the Democratic Party. So, this video in particular isn't something that I ever anticipated I was gonna make, let alone post on YouTube, because, let's be honest, do I really feel like being yelled at by random strangers or being accused of having internalized racism? No. No, I don't. But here we are. I feel like my experiences could add to a bigger conversation, so that's why I'm making this video. So, I'm gonna share with you my observations, and in no way do I want you to feel like I am trying to brainwash you into voting for a different party. I simply want to open up your mind to the other ideas that are out there, and no, I'm not getting paid to say this. I honestly don't know how people come to that conclusion. Like, have you seen my bank account? I'm broke. I am broke. PayPal in the description. But in all seriousness, I just want you to have an open mind when you're watching this video and understand that I am in no way trying to deliberately upset you with what I'm about to say. These are my observations and my experiences, and I simply want to open up your mind to the possibility of a deeper conversation. So let's start from the top. Why I decided to walk away from the Democratic Party. The first reason has a lot to do with the left's obsession with race, and a very unhealthy one, I might add. So if you didn't know this, the left pretty much dominates media, and it's a really valuable tool when it comes to connecting with the public. So for the sake of this video, we're just going to use CNN as an example. So every time there's been a case relating to race, CNN has been quick to frame their coverage in a way that it makes it seem like there's been nonstop racism in America. They purposely leave out very important information to keep you focused on the racism part. This type of repetition eventually makes the reader believe that we've basically time traveled back to the civil rights era and everyone's a white supremacist. For example, CNN right now is making a big stink about how Trump refused to condemn the Proud Boys, which is a right-wing extremist/white supremacy group. Back in 2019, one of the Proud Boys members was arrested for fighting a protester. This is what is claimed on the CNN website. However, what they don't tell you in the article is the protester in this case was Antifa, and the white supremacist that they're referring to is married to a black woman? Huh?
Hi, my name is Zisi Kinsman, and this is my daughter, Liberty. And her dad, John Kinsman, is currently serving 4 years in New York State Penitentiary with his friend Max for the crime of defending himself against a domestic terrorist organization, Antifa.
Hold up, wait a second. Okay, how can a white supremacist have mixed babies with his black wife? I'll tell you, the same way the Proud Boys can have black and brown members. Or did CNN also not tell you that? Gee, I wonder why. So by the time, let's say, the presidential debate happens, the public will rightfully focus on the fact that Trump did not condemn the violent white supremacist group. And there'll be no convincing anyone otherwise, and I don't blame them. And once that same story lands somewhere on the right, let's say Fox News, people on the left are quick to claim that it's propaganda. Well, yeah, if you have, let's say, 80% of media outlets claiming that they are a white supremacist group, then most people aren't gonna bother doing the research and will just assume that one side is telling the truth simply because a lot of people believe them. This biased news coverage happens a lot, and I need you to understand that racism is not at an all-time high in this country. This was an idea that was manufactured with a goal to make you believe the narrative so you can vote for who they want you to vote for. Thankfully, I don't trust anybody, therefore I do my own research. But think about this for a second. If racism and white supremacy were so bad, I mean as bad as everyone's making it out to be, there should be an abundance of these stories, and no story should ever be altered to fit a narrative. Why would someone need to do that if it was actually true in the first place? By the way, there's a really great TED Talk called How to Deconstruct Racism One Headline at a Time. I'll put a link in the description, but if you want to check it out, here's a clip. Let's talk about the black vote. So during Obama's election, I remember getting into an argument with my then boyfriend. He asked me, "Why are you voting for Obama?" And I said, "Because I want Obama to be the first black president." I'd never understood why my answer bothered him as much as it did, but now I understand why. I realized that I was contributing to a bigger problem by playing into identity politics while choosing a candidate for superficial reasons rather than he's the most qualified or offers the best policies. So, going back to what I said earlier about being Democrat, I couldn't help but wonder how many other black folks align themselves with this party but don't have a clear understanding as to why. Republicans only care about rich white people, or Trump's a racist. These are the usual responses that I get before the conversation ends there. And while I personally don't feel like any of those answers are good enough to elect the ruler of the country, the Democrats, on the other hand, seem to think it is a good reason. And that's because they want you to vote with your feelings. They are hoping that the majority of Americans are so lazy that they're not going to bother to do their own research. So what happens when Black America actually decides to take that step and do their own research? I'll tell you. They're exiled immediately from Black culture. They're called traitors to their race, or an Uncle Tom, which is kind of funny because the story of Uncle Tom shows that he actually helped the slaves rather than betray them, but people would know that if they actually took the time to research. You see where I'm getting at? Okay, let's move on. The Democratic Party has done a really good job at controlling the black vote by pitting one against each other, thus effectively playing into identity politics and the same monolith that Black Americans claim to hate so much. Which reminds me, there's a really great documentary called Uncle Tom that references a lot of the stuff that I'm talking about right now. It dives deeper into the history of Black conservatives, and I recommend it to anyone that's willing to see a different perspective. Last but not least, let's talk about values. There's a quote that I love that says, "Vote with your values and not your fears." So, for example, if you are afraid of white supremacy, then you would probably vote for someone who would defeat white supremacy. But the question is, where did that fear come from? If your fears are coming from a story like this that you know you didn't research on your own, then I think you understand the point that I'm trying to make. On the other hand, what are your values? What do you believe in? Write them down and consider taking a few political quizzes to see where they place you. And you might even be surprised to learn about a party that you didn't know existed. Case in point, libertarian. This is what I feel a lot of my values align with, and to be perfectly honest with you, I had no idea the Libertarian Party even existed. Throughout K through 12, I was only taught about left versus right, which I feel is a huge problem in itself because it's grooming future voters to blindly elect politicians who may not have them in their best interests. But anyway, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you took one of those political quizzes, be sure to leave your results in the comments. I'd love to see what it says. And remember to hit that subscribe button and be sure to check out my podcast, Subtweet This, where we challenge internet outrage by normalizing conversations. My name is Gothix, and I'll catch you in the next video.